Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG for another Dragon Ball Super Fusion World video. Like I said in my channel announcements video, which if you haven't seen yet, you probably need to go down in the description or the comment section, click on it, watch it. I'm going to be doing a lot more Fusion World content because going to Nationals made me realize that there's still so many of you guys that not only love the content, but you guys were just waiting patiently. You weren't upset with me that I was doing Gundam content. You understood that Gundam content was just making me a lot more money than Fusion World content, but you were still here, holding it down, supporting me, coming down. So yeah, we are going to be doing our best to make both games thrive on this channel. And all I ask is for your support, to show up, to like these videos, to comment on these videos, to really like help them thrive so they can pull their weight on the channel as well. But I will keep putting my entire back into this. So that being said, we are going to go over my Nationals deck for Orange Piccolo. We are going to go over my tournament report, and I'm going to tell you about the process of coming to this list because I went 5-2. One of my games was lost to a small misplay due to the time I spent practicing with this deck, as well as a bad judge call. But hey, it all happens. And then the only real loss I took from this event so far was one in the mirror. So yeah, we're gonna go over my entire run. I hope you guys enjoy this content, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we have here Orange Piccolo, or at least Piccolo Superhero, and most of you guys know this effect. He is a leader that awakens at 4, so he's going to draw every time you attack, and he's going to awaken at 4 life. Once he flips over, he has a very unique effect, though. Once per turn, okay, obviously when you swing, you draw, but auto, when your opponent's card attacks, you are going to be able to choose one battle card in your battle area with a cost of 3 or more in Superhero and its card name and redirect the attack. That means that you will be able to essentially blank one of the attacks per game or per turn, depending on the incoming attack. And of course, your opponent gets a chance to combo into it. But basically what this means is if I am sitting here with, per se, a Gamma on the board and my opponent attacks into me for 20, first you get the on attack auto, such as them drawing from their leader or something like that, and then on top of after that you would get the auto here, because this is technically one of the game's first when attacking autos on the defensive side. But now I get to choose whether I want the attack to go through to the blocker step and then the combo step afterwards, or whether I want to redirect it to a superhero in question with cost 3 or more. So I can choose to say, no, that attack's going to this Gamma. Then it moves on to the offensive combo, then the defensive combo in case they want to combo above this 30k from your save. So it really does change the flow of battle, and it makes it very hard for this deck to be double struck once awoken. That's the most important part about this. Essentially a counter in this game where counters don't exist. So that's the leader. I do want to go over the current list that I have here, and yeah, we'll just start here. So what we have first and foremost, let me move this into the corner. We got 4 Pans. Pan Superhero is just a 1-drop that is going to, it's just a 1-drop that's going to search your top 3 for a superhero card. And I'm going to move this, sorry for that noise, I'm just moving that light. But it's a 1 cost that's going to search your top 3 for a superhero card. That includes super combos, that includes your boss cards, that includes pretty much everything in the deck minus like maybe 6 cards. So that's actually pretty important. Past that, what we're gonna have are 3 Krillins. I know that a lot of people run 4, but I'll explain this right here. Krillin is a 1-cost card. It basically, when you have 6 or more energy and you play him, you're going to be able to target one battle card on your opponent's side of the board that has 5 or less cost, and it can't attack the next turn. This is so important for stunning 5-cost Majin Boos, 5-cost Cells. You can stun 5-cost Omega Shenron. You can stun so many things in this game. 4-cost Manga Boos, 4-cost Cells, but you know, you're only stunning the attack. They're going to be able to use the effects with 18 to go off in front of that. But there are so many cards you can stun with this, and it's just very important. Now, part of my tech package, I do run 2 Bulma, mainly because I do max out my Hercule package like most Piccolos do. However, when it comes to Bulma, I like the ability to discard cards that I don't need in order to draw more outs, in order to draw more outs, as well as to draw more ramp pieces, and against certain matchups it works differently. Against Cell, this card is dead in the water. Against Sin Shinron, this card is dead in the water. Against Boo, they can rest it and swing into it. That's fine, but they still used a card that may be able to rest something later, so I'm okay with that. And then against the Mirror, you dig so much more than your opponent when you see this card, because you were just getting through everything in the Mirror that isn't useful, such as Krillin's Superhero, and other cards too, so I'll explain that later. Speaking of Mirror, we've got 2 Chilais. This card is actually a pretty nasty card, because when you are playing the Mirror, you're essentially going to be trading Beast Gohans with your opponent, and this card allows your Beast Gohans and 7-drop Gohan superheroes to not be touched by your opponent. They have to go and hit the Chilai first. Also, it can guard against 9-drop Broly, which is relevant if your Chilai is still on the board, so very, very good. But in other matchups, such as the yellow matchup, it's good because you can play it in order to stop yourself from getting that 5-3 life combo that they do. A lot of Boos will leave you at 5 life and pause if they're at 4 energy, because they want to go into their Kid Buu turn, their 5-cost Kid Buu turn, and strike you down before your redirect is up. But if they ever give you that pause and you have this in your hand, you open with this, you always keep this in the Piccolo matchup, or the Piccolo versus Majin Buu matchup, because when they leave you at 5 to double strike you, you just, bam, play Chilai, awaken, and then your redirect is up, and now it's very, very hard for them to double strike you that turn. So very, very good card for multiple matchups. Very weak against Cell, you charge it. Very weak against Sin, you charge it. Next card here is 3 Gamma 1 SH. You play it, you discard a card, you draw 2. Very, very good in the early game. Decent when you're digging later game. Very, very the later the game goes though. So I put it at 3, and that's where I was pretty comfortable seeing it. It never really failed me. These ratios worked for me very well. Then I played Hercule. Hercule, as most of you guys know from last year's Nationals, staple green card. You're going to be able to play it. If you're at 6 or more energy, you can take 2 Earthlings back, and those Earthlings are going to be able to you know, help you further your game. You're either searching, you're stunning, or you're just this part. I don't really use it to draw late game for the most part. Sometimes I'll discard a card I don't need, but for the most part, if I need to bring back double 10Ks and I don't have double Krillin, this is cool. But also, like I said, you can always just discard cards you don't need to search for more cards, which does come up a lot. Now to round out my 2 drops, I have 2 Android 18s. She's very, very nice. You can play her if you feel like she won't be like messed with really, and you can draw, discard. She helps you set up your trash or your drop for Gohans in the future, just like Gamma 1s. The only difference though is that when you see her in the mid to late game, she's actually going to start drawing. And the big part about this deck is a lot of this deck is like answer immediately type status, and when that's the case, you can't really like, it's hard to deal with her sometimes when you have to deal with Beast Gohans, when you have to deal with these 7-drop Gohans, you have to deal with these 40k, 50k threats. And if you have like blockers up or just a way to redirect, sometimes she stays on the field way longer than intended. Like, I've had so many games where she has just been on the board for like 4 turns and has helped me dig out. Then you got the ramp package. Ramp package literally comes in 8 cards, technically I guess 10. But you have the Gamma 1, Gamma 2, well, sorry, the Gamma 2s, and the Gamma 2s are amazing. They are just going to come down, they cost 3, you attack with them, and then at the end of the turn, you put them aside in order to ramp the top card from your deck to your energy. Sometimes you get this gets a, you know, a crucial card such as a super combo or Beast On, and that sucks. But you know what? It's just part of the game. You need to do it. The other cool part is it's a 30k if you have 6 or more energy, and a lot of people don't get to the point where this is worth. But I had 2 games at Nationals where I played this and I swung with it, and I was like, okay, and they were like, okay. And I'm like, they're like, any combo? I'm like, no. Then they're like, any combo? And I asked them, any combo? And they're like, no. And I'm like, 30k. And they're like, oh crap. And like, it's a permanent. It's not an activated ability, so I don't have to play and be like once per turn or play it auto. It's a permanent. The moment I have 6 energy, it's at 30. So when I play it and I swing with it and it's past that, sometimes that does get people off guard because a lot of people don't realize that permanent is even in effect because you don't really play it late game. So really, really cool about that one. And then on top of that, you have this Gohan. This Gohan is just your main also ramp. I'm going to talk a lot about these two cards because this deck has a lot of versatility in how you get to ramp and how you can set up your plays. But basically when you play him, you're going to take 2 superhero cards with a cost of 3 or more, put them from your drop to your energy, and then this Gamma sets up for it. If you Gamma into Gohan, Gamma puts himself in the trash or the drop, allowing him to be half of that. Next, one of the most important cards of the deck, you have Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. This is great. It's a 5 cost. It pops something that's 3 or less, which has so many applicable targets in the format. And then on top of that, you give your leader a 5k boost, which sometimes allows them to just, chip at awakened leaders, but often when you're awakened, it allows him to require more cards from your opponent or change the battle map to where you can block 30ks with 1 card, and that's very, very, very good. Next, a lot of people drop this from their list, but I do run 2 Orange Piccolos. Orange Piccolo is low-key just the safety helmet of the deck. You put your chin strap on, you clip it into place, and it has a lot of good uses. In the mirror, there are just lots of times where your opponent will try to make these footsie plays, and this card comes down, and you can stop a lot of things. Even if they swing with a Beast Gohan, it only takes 1 10k to save this, and he's an attacker for next turn, and a blocker if they don't get rid of it again. If you play out, if you're going second into the mirror, and you are on your ramp sequentially, like double Beast Gohan ramp, then you are able to drop Beast Gohan into Piccolo, into Chilai, and then just make sure that your Beast Gohan can't be removed and your Piccolo can't be removed that turn because of its own effect, and that makes it very hard to deal with. Against Cell, when you Beast Gohan into Orange Piccolo, it gets very, very hard for them to deal with as well because they can't self-destruct this card. They have to take it from 45k to 0, or it's just staying on the board for a turn. And that actually gets really rough because sometimes it's even hard to deal with Beast Gohan at 50k. So this guy offers a lot of cool stuff. He's rather useless against the Kid Buu matchup because they can just rest him easily. He's great against a lot of these matchups that you need to stabilize on because he takes effectively 2 attacks off the board, and when he gets put down the board against like aggro matchups where you stabilize, they really can't work around him. It's really rough. And then against Omega Shenron, if he's upright, he's great. If he's turned sideways and he isn't under his own effect, that's rough. But the turn you play him, you can block with him if they haven't used Dragon Thunder. Like if they swing without Dragon Thunder, block immediately because that's just saving you a redirect and cards out of your hand. And then they can't even hit him with Burst Attack because he can't be removed. And sometimes people even forget about that. In testing, I had like a Sin Shenron swing at me and then try to Burst Attack and then was like, oh, well, they tried to burst attack and swing at me, and then they were like, why isn't he getting bottom decked? And I was like, his effect. So there's a lot of different effects that can catch people lacking. Now, something I have unique to a lot of people is going to be the Android 16 and 17. This was a huge tech that I'm going to kind of go about, and I think one thing I need to right here say that I should have said at the beginning of this is a huge shout out, and I'm gonna put them in the comments, the pinned comments. But a huge shout out to my homie Chad. My homie Chad sat with me during day 0 when everybody did the LCQs, and he ran endless games with me of the Mirror, Sin Shenron, Cell, as well as Kid Buu. He sat there and ran all of those. He even gave me run-ins with Giblet. I have to give a shout out to the judge Brian R. Brian, or Hurricane GL on Discord. He ran me through matches with Giblet. He ran me through matches with Bulma to help me kind of acclimate towards the aggro. I have to give a shout out to Sensei's Table. The homie Tejan has a YouTube channel out there where he breaks down a lot of stuff for Dragon Ball Super Fusion World, so I implore you to go down in the description, check that out. But he also helped me with a lot of philosophy and games with Cell. Without him, I would not have understood the Cell matchup as intimately as I do, and I crushed it when I faced it in the matchup. But we're gonna talk about the tournament reports too later as well. And then shout out to JTP card games like TCGs, because like he also exposed a major hole in my gameplay philosophy by showing me the Kid Buu matchup, and I was not ready for it, and I had to go in there with the focus of learning it way better. And again, shout outs to Chad for running all those games with me. But I found out that 6 energy was a major kind of blam, you know. The 6 cost was a gap that could be exploited. You were always wanting to be at 7 to play out the 7 cost promo Han, and it really made it rough because 6 was the turn where they could do the most damage. You ramp up to 6 and your opponent has a free turn before you can even stabilize, and when you stabilize, sometimes you're left with like a gajillion cards on your opponent's board and you have to somehow work yourself out of a pinch. This is a double striker that I can use proactively. I don't need to be at 2 life. It has a very good place at removing bodies that can swing on me or bodies that can combo against me, and it has a perfect space in the curve, and we're going to explain that in the next part of this video. So then what we have here is going to be the Son Gohan superhero promo, and this is also a perfect spot on the curve. He's a 10k, he can be brought back with Gohan. He fits literally every piece of the deck that you need him to fit in every stage, and he's important in my removal ramp defensive curve, which I'm going to explain to you guys momentarily. So that's pretty good. Last but not least, you just got to go into the super combos. That doesn't really need to be explained. And then we got Beast Gohan. For most of you guys that don't know, you and shout out to 4th place after Swiss, Mr. Cordier. I might have mispronounced your name, but he's going to Worlds along with It's Your Boy Vic. So shout outs to all you guys. But he definitely showed me how this card worked a little better, because I had been shortcutting it in all my testing, and I got caught in my round 2, and that left a Kid Buu on the field, which allowed me to lose a shotgun by 5k because I had been comboing out the turn before to survive that Kid Buu. So a little rough, but at the same time, what you got here is a 8-drop card that lets you put 5 of your energy into the trash. Then you choose a target and send it to the grave. Then you put the 5 energy back, as long as every card is 3 cost or higher. You can switch them out with your trash, things like that. So he's a very, very good card. He's the staple of the deck, and when you have more than 2 of these guys on the board, you're probably auto winning. It's just rough for your opponent. Last 2 cards in here are the Earth Destroying Blows, and the Earth Destroying Blows are actually just super, super clean. Shout outs to Chad for getting me to actually use these, and realistically, they're just really, really good. You get above 40Ks, which is very good for the cell neutral pokes once their effect goes off. On top of that, you can use them in the mirror to get ahead on energy, because in the mirror, it's very hard to reverse the polarity of the game. If your opponent is on curve and you're on curve, but you go second. But if you're going second, or even if you're going first, you can crush the polarity by leaving energy up, using Earth Destroying Blow to get to 11, so that you can double Beast Gohan your opponent, get rid of everything of importance on their board, and then putting them in a position where they can only Beast Gohan once per turn for 2 turns, and then doing that, unless they do the same thing to you. Now, when you have Chilai on board, it's worse, because if you can double Beast Gohan and Chilai, you automatically almost win the mirror. There's like nothing your opponent can really do that can get them back into the fray, because they have to use their first Beast Gohan to attack the Chilai, to remove the Chilai, and unless they're double Beast Gohaning, they can't reverse that polarity. So this is the deck list, and next I'm gonna go into my rounds and then my bread and butter. Hey y'all, it's about that time, and I just want to let you guys know a couple of announcements for the channel. First and foremost, I just want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Hyper Beam Cards. They have been supplying me with product for sets now, and I can't express how crucial they have been to allowing me to play this game while working on my budget, working as a content creator. So thank you guys so much. Go down in the description or the pinned post. Check them out. They are the best place right now that you can buy Dragon Ball Super Fusion World, as well as other TCGs that they carry. Make sure your pre-orders or your orders for FBO 8 are settled. I will be doing an announcement, but keep an eye out for FBO 9 pre-orders, and just make sure that you hit up one of the best in the business. They ship to both Mexico and the US based on the fact that they are located in Tijuana, and they just put in so much work. Past that, I want to let you guys know that while on here, we will be continuing, of course, full speed with Dragon Ball Super Fusion World, including my Broly breakdown that'll be happening next, since it was voted second highest in that poll I did a bit ago. But we will also be going into more live streams, more gameplay on the client here, and then on Universe X, especially with Dragon Ball seeming to ramp up in a big way in 2026. We will be covering any news on movies, anime, manga that comes out, as well as continuing gameplay for games like Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, Sparking Zero, and maybe even Legends if enough of you guys show interest. So just make sure you go over in the description, check out Universe X, Universe X Media at Universe X Media, and check out my second channel. Support that. It's going to be a great year for Dragon Ball, I promise. Last but not least, make sure you like this video. If you like it, comment with your thoughts, and then subscribe if you never want to miss a beat for Dragon Ball Super Fusion World. And if you want to go the little extra mile, you can always hit up that membership. 99 cents a month for you, but it really does do a lot for me and help split the bread. All right, let's get back to the breakdown. Okay, so my matchups are pretty easy and simple and straightforward. There was a couple notes. Going first, I end up playing against Gotenks, and this is really funny because my fun deck is Gotenks, and so I know how it operates really well. He was very clean in his play. He understands that I can't interact with him until 5 energy when I can play Gamma 1 and 2, so he ended up playing out like a Trunks, and then he ended up playing the Trunks Goten with no recursion, then he ended up playing another Goten, and then the moment I was about to get to 5, he double fused on me to make sure he could put the pressure on. I had to end up cycling into a bunch of stuns, Herculing my stuns back, re-stunning, and basically, what ended up happening was I kept him at 6 life, so he couldn't pressure me with 35k swings. I kept stunning his board and blowing up his board, and then eventually I was just ready with 3 Beast Gohans on board going to 4 to just completely force the game my way. So yeah, we got it in there, and we ended up going on round 2. Round 2, I faced, I think he got 3rd place. No, he got 4th place. 4th place in the entire tournament. We just had a really scuffed game where both of us were messing up on effects and declarations, and we had to call the judge over twice, and one for each of us actually. That was like a potentially game-altering issue. And then when all was said and done, we were able to completely play it out. I made a crucial misplay on shortcutting Beaston because I had never played him on the client, and I was playing this deck mostly just like in the past 40 hours. So I played out the Beast Gohan, I put my 5 energy down, and then I put my financial, I almost read Discord. I put my 5 energy back on the board, and then he allowed me to know that, hey, you just passed over your opportunity to kill with Beaston. And I was like, oh crap, because I did, it was a period. And so I had to keep a 5 cost Buhan on the board, and I ended up losing my shotgun by 5 the turn after, where I would have had more combo power and if I didn't have to keep myself alive. So that is the issue with that. So that was my first loss. My third round was against the Mirror. We played a back and forth game, but there was a particular part where I ended up using Earth Destroying Kamehameha to get an energy ahead of my opponent, and then that allowed me to hit 11 energy and double beast on my opponent, and then just like bam. So that was pretty much what was happening there. He was a really cool player. He put up with me looking angry as heck because I was super angry going off of my round 2. And so shout outs to you for just, being calm and announcing all of your plays, and then I was able to we were able to keep playing. So that was really cool. I enjoyed that. And then round 4, I ended up facing Cell, right? I think so. Let me actually just check this out. Let me check out what I was saying. Yeah, so round 4, I actually ended up playing against Cell. We were going on back and forth, and it was pretty cool. However, I think the main issue, there were a couple points in the game where he's a solid player online. And because they stop you to ask all your actions and stuff like that, it's just a little bit of a different pacing compared to in person. So there was like an Android 18 minus 5k trigger that he went over, things like that. It was just rough. It was just really rough. But at the same time, we did get there. We have a pretty good game plan versus Cell. Once again, shout outs to Chad for helping me get through that. And then I ended up facing another Orange Piccolo. He got me essentially on 2 fronts. Well, one of them was RNG, one of them was he got me. He played these 1-cost blockers, and they were really annoying to deal with, but they prevented me from ever putting a lot of pressure on his leader or his Beast Gohan through attack, because normally you just swing a Beast Gohan and Beast Gohan. If their redirect is down or if they redirect to it, you just put a 10k on it. And then you kind of get through there, but I couldn't really do that with the 1-cost on board. So I had the androids, and I was planning to use them, but because I missed my 3rd Beast Gohan and he did not, I could not ever play these and be around the misdirect. So I had to try my best, and it was really hard to get over that. And then the real part that sealed the nail in the coffin was when I played my Pan 2 turns after I missed my 3rd Beast Gohan, and it showed me my 3rd and 4th Beast Gohan. So I had to bottom deck one of my Beast Gohans while being behind with him, and so I pretty much ended up getting washed out, and that pretty much sucked. So yeah, then I ended up playing against Kid Buu, and I beat them. Like I said, my matchup versus Kid Buu I feel very good about, and I'll show you why going after this. And then we had the Kid Buu again for the last round. Shout outs to Cade. He has been talking a lot of trash in my comments, and it's all in good fun, but actually meeting him and playing against him, I have so much respect for him. Dude's just trolling, but we have a lot of fun in that game, and can't wait to actually face him again. So some of you guys may be wondering about what like just tech pieces and what my biggest things were when we were testing and what we found out. So like when it comes to this, right, there's a lot of cool things you can do, but one of the main things that our testing showed, especially after playing games against Giblet and the Kid Buu, was that there was actually a way to have a completely defensive curve, because one of the issues I was having is that even when you quote-unquote stabilize and you play your first beast, you could still get swung around that beast because their board is so wide. So we wanted to make a curve that didn't include that, and we actually end up succeeding in it. So of course, going on your turn 1, right, you obviously have like your pan superhero. In my deck's case, I do have another play because I can end up playing my Bulmas, and my Bulmas can start dropping things into the trash that I don't need for the matchup, and then you know, drawing into more cards. But my pan also can search my top 3. So those are indeed my beginning plays, right? And then of course you have the ability to combo if necessary, get these off the board. Maybe you want to keep this on the board, maybe you combo this, depends on the matchup. But then your turn 2, you're going to end up being able to play one of these two. And these two, they're going to both discard a card, but this one draws and then discards. This one you're going to discard and then draw 2. This sees more cards, but this has more of a value later game when it can just be a +1 every time it turns sideways. So those are also pretty cool. And then this is where we start diverging, because turn 3, we end up playing the Gamma. The Gamma is going to go into our trash or drop, and we're going to take the top card of our deck and we're going to put it in our energy, and we're going to go up, right? So essentially this is where this kind of gets important, right? Because the defensive play of this, I'm just going to set this up randomly and then kind of go from there. So the defensive play that we kind of coined with this deck and we're feeling super good about, I'm just gonna set up my energy in a way that makes sense, and bam. So I'm gonna put this Gamma here, I'm gonna put a Gohan here, and I'm gonna put you know, if we open up Hercule on turn 1, we'd have to put him here, right? And then we're gonna go off of this. So from here on, this is pretty much the play that I wanted to show you guys. On turn 3, you know, you play out the Gamma, you know, you get your leader draw, and you put Gamma into the drop at the end of the turn, and then you just flip the top card of your deck over and it's there, right? So now you're at 4 energy. The following turn, you're probably gonna take a little damage there, it's fine, or you can combo from your hand to keep your life up. But the following turn, what's gonna happen is you're going to, I'm just gonna put a couple cards in my hand so I have stuff to play with, right? The following turn, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna draw for turn, and you're gonna charge to 5. And after charging to 5, what you can do is play out Gamma 2 and Gamma 1 and 2, pop something that's 3 cost or less, give your leader plus 5k. Swing on something on board if you need to pressure their board or take cards of their hand. Swing on their leader if you want to put their life down. Either way, you pass with this up. It's very important that you pass this up, because when it's upright, a 30k 5 cost is very hard to remove when your opponent is charging to 4. In most cases, it's just not happening. So you do this, and then they're going to end up swinging on you. It's important to leave this guy here, because if they force you to awaken, you now have a redirect that you can keep up with the 30k here. So you keep that up. Now, the following turn, when you get another card to your hand, right? You charge, and now that you have 6, this is where this tech comes in. While I still have my redirect, you play out Android 17 and 18. You pop 2 3-drops. In aggro matchups, this hits most of the cards that Giblet can play out until they get to like Turles and Shallot. And then on top of that, in the Buu matchup, you're actually playing this out, and you're popping their Buuhans, you're popping buff Boos if they're on the field, you're popping the blocker that they put out with or that they made into a blocker with Bobbity. And there's so many more things. Against Omega, you're putting out bodies of this of their own. This also can't be interacted with by many decks at that point. Buu can freeze it, right? But it's a 40k. Cell can get it out of the way, but they're taking a lot of their resources, usually including a self-destruct, to get it out of the way. It's not the best against Cell because what you're popping isn't that great either. It also is sitting here destroying things with Boo. Like I said, the best thing you can do is freeze it. In the mirror, if you play this to get rid of combo power and go in, they actively can't do anything until their Beast on turn against this, so it sticks. It's just a very sticky card, and once you play this, you're actually able to, get your swing on something for the draw. If you're already awakened, you have that. Keep this up for the redirect. Punch with this at something, or if you really think you have that curve and you don't fear them awaken, you can just send in that leader to see what they're going to do, take it or not. But the chances are this is going to stick at this part of the game. They are just getting to 5, so this is going to stick. The following turn, you get another card, right? You charge this, and then you tap all 7 for Son Gohan if they have cards you need to destroy. So again, you could be playing all sorts of other things. You could be playing Hercules at this point, Searches at this point, a Gamma and a Hercule. There are lots of things you can do here, but if they do play bodies and replenish the turn, you can go directly into this and pop this. Now at this point, you can go sideways with both of these cards because it is going to be very hard for them charging to 6 and getting rid of a 5k 30k and a 7k 40k. But you end up swinging at this, and that's pretty much that. And you have pressure, but you've destroyed a card, 2 cards, and 2 cards. Then the next part is the part that everybody's familiar with, is the fact that now you are naturally arriving to 8. You charge, you Beast Gohan, you destroy another card, you play out the rest of your turn. So when you get to this point, you are able to naturally curve into Beast Gohan while destroying cards each turn while keeping your redirect up each turn. And that is the curve that we end up using to fight aggro. I took my Giblet matchup from like no chance in like HFIL to actually just straight up winnable. Literally winnable. Like, I did not drop a game versus Giblet after I put this in. Then on top of that, I'm sure they could high roll out of it, but yeah. Then my Boo matchup was excellent. Like, outside of the punt fest between me and Cotter, I like beat my Boo matchups going up this ladder. It's just very, very important. It's in those matchups, it can actually be a near trap to play out the 4-cost ramper, because that is a turn where you're playing this and it goes off the field, and then you're playing this and you just have this guy up for a redirect if you're awakened. Otherwise, you just did nothing with your turn. You didn't impact their board, and the best you can do is swing with this guy, and if they get rid of him, then you could potentially be awakened with no redirect, and that could be extremely bad for your hand. So this is the curve that we pretty much went on. I think everything else is fairly standard for Beast Gohan, but this particular curve is basically what we were working on, and that's pretty much that. So for you guys that are there still watching, I do again want to just thank everybody that gave me support, everybody that wished me luck. I want to thank all of my homies, and once again, if they have channels, please go down into that pinned comment and check them out. Please go into the description and check them out. But past that, I do just kind of want to give a quick shuffle. Even if I shuffle and don't draw that well, it shouldn't be much of a problem. I'm not going to pile here because it's just going to be quick, but I just want to show you guys some of the cool things. And the one thing I wanted to explain to you as well is that when you go second, you can still come out on top if you have 2 Beast Gohans, and that's pretty much what I wanted to just kind of show you guys. Like, this is a very, very, very flexible deck, and even though it's ramp, it's not out of the game just because you didn't draw absolutely busted. So seeing this firsthand, it is kind of a victim of that I just pile shuffled, but I think we can actually still get it through regardless. So just putting these up, some of these are upside down just because of the way they shuffled. I hate these graphic sleeves sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So going into this hand, right? Let's say I'm going second, because a lot of people are saying that second is like the worst you can possibly be for this deck. So drawing into a Krillin, depending on the matchup, may not be needed. It really depends. But we're going to charge this. If I'm going second, we can swing, getting a Gohan. We can do this, playing out Pan, going into our searches. We're going to pick up this in most cases, because if we don't need it, we're just going to discard it off of Gamma next turn. Take that first damage. It's a Gamma. That's fine. We are still missing right now Gamma 2. So right here, what we can do, since we already have a Pan and we already have this here, what we can do is end up charging that, tapping that, well, charging that, swinging, getting a card. That's the Gohan right here. And this is actually the cool ramp I wanted to tell you about. This is where stuff gets pretty cool, because now I'm going to end up playing out Gamma 2, and I'm going to discard, or Gamma 1, I'm going to discard Gohan, I'm going to draw 1, I'm going to draw 2, alright? After doing so, we have 2 cards that we can combo off depending on the matchup to keep ourselves healthy. This is the most important part, because there are times where if we were at the right place, we're just going to pitch one of these in our attack, because now we can draw into 17, 18. We don't need this until late game. We need both Gohans, we might need the Gamma, so I'm going to charge this, and we're going to use the energy marker to play out this and put these out. This is the one thing that has people, I think, with the misconception that if Orange Piccolo goes second, it's cooked. It's not, because if Orange Piccolo goes second and you can manage to sculpt your hand to find 2 of these, you will literally be able to go even higher on the math. So now with this turn, all I need to do is combo this out of my hand, and if I need to, I can even combo this off the field if I don't want to drop anything else in my hand like the Gamma or the Beast, which I don't. And that automatically puts me up to a place where I can charge and just be like, okay, we are going to play out Gohan here for 4. We're going to put these 2 cards back on our energy. That puts us at 8. Actually, that puts us at 7 energy. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That puts us at 8 energy, and we are currently only in our, 4th turn, because on turn 3 with the marker, we went into Gohan. This is turn 4. So on turn 4, we're on 8 energy, and we still have the ability to do things like Krillin on their cards, swing in for a damage, draw into Hercule, and then play Pan. Pan should find us a super combo by now, because probability. I'm like, guys, like, I'm serious. Like, I may have messed up in that round too, but I was pretty sharp the rest of the tournament. So doing that, and now you're simply set up. Depending on how hard you defended and how hard they came, especially if they're a mid-range deck, they don't have the ability to push you that far. And now you have combos to get off. I mean, they can deal a damage, it doesn't matter. They can deal 2 damage, it doesn't quite matter. But the funny thing about this following turn, right, is now that you're at 8, you can hop directly to 9. And once you're at 9, this is the part where things get gross, because I can Beast Gohan and remove something, and then still be able to play out Hercule to get back Krillin and Pan, and be able to play out Krillin and Pan to search my top, or you know, stun something. Or if I think that I got that dog in me and I don't need to play out Hercule this turn, 9 energy is enough to play out Son Gohan and the android. So I pop 3 things on your board, start pressuring you, and even throw on a double strike there to really pressure you. This deck is so fun, and that was just an example about how a turn 2 hand can come together. I really like my matchup against Kid Buu. I really like my matchup against Cell. I really like my matchup against Sen. And the mirror can sometimes get a little messy because it does depend a lot on how well Beast Gohans go back and forth into your hand. But that little bit aside, if you guys want me to do a deeper look into this deck, let me know. I know lots of you guys already know Orange Piccolo, but I do feel like we found some routes that not everybody was thinking about. I do think that this is a cracked tech, and I'm really upset that my lack of exact effect knowledge hurt me in round 2 enough for me not to be able to take this into Top Cut with you guys, because I really do think I lost 1 game that go for real, and the other one I lost to incompetence, which is still a loss on my part. But I do think I had a lot to show you guys, and I really wish I could have translated into Top Cut. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, let's go to the closing. And yeah, there is my entire list. There is the breakdowns, there are my matchups, and I really just wanted to give you guys that experience and the in-depth route to how we got there. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, thank you each and every one of you guys that showed me support up until Nats. Thank you guys for the people at Nats that really came up and showed me love. I appreciate it, because you guys know the channel has been a little Fusion World light lately, and I intend to rectify that. So thank you guys. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, look at the membership if you want to, look over at my second channel, and really, we're going to close out 2025 strong, and we're going to explode going into 2026. So yeah, keep an eye out for FB08 content. We should get a half case opening soon, courtesy of the magical Hyper Beam cards, and make sure you check them out as well to make sure that your Fusion World endeavors go so well. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Later.